here this evening to remember all the victims of Baltimore violence, whether they were murdered or um, maintained their injuries or didn't succumb to their injuries. Listen, Baltimore has had a murder rate of 300 plus murders over the last 7 years in a row. We cannot no longer continue to do this. We're here today to stand up and speak out to stop the violence. We've come together across different faiths and different backgrounds and different communities and different organizations to stand up together to say, no, we will not do this anymore, and to remember all those victims that have succumbed in the year 2021. We can start off real, so we can open up with prayer if anyone would like to do it off of prayer. Pastor.
Let's pray. Eternal God, we thank you for another day's journey. We thank you for those who could not robbery to come out to recognize and remember all those who lost their lives. We just pray that more people find the courage to want to stand up and make a difference. Pray for the organizing for those that put this together. Thank you, Lord, for the media and the president to come out, give the coverage for this effort and what they're trying to do. Bless those who have lost their sin and who don't know their way, that we can give them an ounce of hope. A little bit of that gives a lot of hope. So, Lord, we just thank each and everyone for their time and their presence here today. For Jesus Christ, we pray. Amen.
We're going to start off with Imam Ingram with a few words.
Greetings, everyone. Murder is wrong, but I believe we know that. Violence hurts, but I believe we know that too. Violence hurts individuals, violence hurts families, violence hurts communities. It affects us at each level of our function in the society. And our condolences go out to each and every victim of violence in this city and outside of this city throughout the entire of this year. Along with this, we don't only want to speak to the problem, but we want to begin to suggest solutions. The issue of murder, the issue of violence, it is something that is systemic. And at its core, its solutions will come from power and life quality. Those that find themselves in these situations, they often find themselves in a void of power. They often find themselves lacking life quality. So in this line of thought, we offer you this. In order to build power, firstly, there must be building of an economic base. Once an economic base is built, then politics can be influenced properly. Once politics is influenced properly, then we can begin to impact law. And once we can impact law, then we can begin to impact media with effect. And once we begin to impact media, then we place education as icing on the top. For education is power, yes, but more effectively applied education is power. So then applied education must be backed by what we just mentioned previous. Further, those who find themselves in these situations of murder and violence, the aggressors and often the receivers. They suffer from poor life quality and poor life choices. So then we must understand that in order to affect life quality, we must affect mindsets. And it must be something that is not only done on an individual level. For as individuals, we may alter our life quality and enhance it. But until we understand that we must look to enhance the life quality of all as a collective, we will continue to suffer from these challenges. There is a saying, there is a tradition that we offer you in closing, and that is none of us will truly have faith until we love for other than ourselves that which we love for ourselves. Each one of us, we value safety. Each one of us, we value security. Each one of us, we value power. Each one of us, we value life quality. So then we must work together in order to achieve this for all. And this begins with mindsets and enhancing our mindsets. If we truly get here as a collective, then we can take the steps together to begin to subdue the enemy of violence and the enemy of murder. We thank you all.
Our next speaker will be Andrew Coach.
Thank you, Mecca. My name is Andrew Koch, and I'm the treasurer of the Maryland Republican Jewish Council. And we're gathered here this evening in front of City Hall to reflect on what's been yet another bloody and violent year here in Baltimore City. As of today, we're approaching 340 murders, and since January 1st, 2015, more than 2,300 people have been murdered here in Baltimore City. However, this year that we're about to close out, 2021, the violence to me seems different. It seems more depraved. While children like Mackenzie Elliott being killed by stray bullets while playing on their front stoops is bad enough, there have been violent attacks just within the past couple of months that are even darker. Jake Rogers, a Baltimore City Department of Public Works employee, he was gunned down at 8:30 in the morning while he was about to take his 3 children to school. Evelyn Plyer, a longtime member and employee of the Southern Baptist Church in East Baltimore, stabbed to death while working inside the church. Father Bernie Carmen of St. Leo's Church in Little Italy, who was pistol whipped and robbed outside of his church a month and a half ago. Fortunately, he's still with us on this earth today. And then there's Officer Kiana Holly of blessed memory, who was ambushed 2 weeks ago while sitting in her patrol car in Curtis Bay, and whose watch came to an end 1 week ago today. That's a father murdered in cold blood in front of his children, a religious woman stabbed to death in her church, a pastor violently attacked outside of his church, and a police officer executed while working at her dream job of protecting and serving us, the citizens of Baltimore City. These attacks are not only depraved, but downright brazen as well. This violence is hitting close to me and for people that I've gotten to know. Some of you may know Marie Fisher, who is the chair of the Maryland Republican Jewish Council and the founder of the hashtag Jexit movement, one of the founders of the Jexit movement. Just this year, 2 people have been shot a few blocks away from where she lives, in Upper Park Heights. One was Ephraim Gordon, who was here in Baltimore from Israel for a family wedding this past spring. He was fatally shot outside of his cousin's house during an attempted robbery. The other shooting was just this past weekend when her neighbor's 17-year-old son was shot in the head, and at last check, he was still in critical condition at Sinai Hospital. For those of you who are familiar with Upper Park Heights, violent crimes like shootings don't happen up there very often. So for 2 to happen up there in 1 year, that's a lot. As for me, just over 2.5 weeks ago, a friend alerted me that while I was sleeping, there had been a shooting just outside of my building, which is no more than a couple hundred yards from where we stand right now. Baltimore, we have a choice to make as we head into 2022. Are we going to whistle past the graveyard and let this gratuitous violence, this violence for the sake of violence, continue unmitigated? Or are we going to stand up and demand that Mayor Brandon Scott, State's Attorney Marilyn Mosby, and Police Commissioner Michael Harrison do their damn jobs? And I have to say, I was absolutely infuriated at the statements made by Mayor Scott and State's Attorney Mosby on the passing of Officer Holly. And I'll give you the clean version of what I said to myself, because what I actually said had some four-letter words and some choice words that I'm not going to repeat with clergy here, in the presence of clergy. When I heard the statements from the mayor and the state's attorney, I said to myself, shut your mouths. You bastards are contributing to the problem. Who in the world do these people think they are? Seriously. We have a state's attorney who refuses to prosecute quality of life crimes and continuously releases violent criminals back out on the streets, so the criminal justice system is a revolving door for them. And she, along with the mayor, also like to vilify the police every chance they get. So as a result, they have the blood of a murdered police officer on their hands, whether they are willing to admit it or not. It is far past time for us to demand that they reverse course, because by any objective measure, what they are doing is not working. It's not working at all. Instead, it is backfiring and failing spectacularly. And as a result, hundreds of people are dying senselessly. Let us all pray that our fellow city residents will allow the Lord's light into their hearts to bring peace to our city. Salam alaikum, shalom aleichem. Peace unto you.
Our next speaker will be Giovanni Patterson. Unfortunately, Pastor P.M. Smith was unable to make it tonight, so Giovanni Patterson is going to stand in for him.
I don't know if I can stand in for PM Smith, but I can definitely be myself. I can be Giovanni. Hold on, let me pull up my notes here. So we all know the problems. We all know the challenges that we face. We know the results. I was thinking last night, if I were to say something, what would it be? And I was reading through the scriptures last night, and I came across Hosea chapter 4, verses 1 and 2. The biggest issue that we face is that we've lost our way, that we've rejected truth. We've come to this point of complete subjectivity. Everything's subjective. There's no objective truth. And there's historical text that shows what happens to the society, to the community, when you reject truth. In Hosea chapter 4, verse 1, it says, "Hear the word of the Lord." And I'm going to use Baltimore. "O children of Baltimore, for the Lord has a controversy with the inhabitants of the land. There is no faithfulness or steadfast love, and no knowledge of God in the land. There is swearing, lying, murder, stealing, and committing adultery. They break all bounds, and bloodshed follows bloodshed." Think about that for a moment. When we reject truth, when everything becomes subjective, bloodshed follows bloodshed. We can blame politicians. We can blame video games. We can blame media. We can blame anything we want. But the fact is that each of us as individuals have lost our way to truth, have stopped even looking for it. We've believed a lie. We've believed deception. And there was a song back in, I don't know if it's the 60s or 70s, but Ball of Confusion. That's what we become. That's what we become, and that's what we are now. We're looking for solutions to murder. We're looking for solutions to fatherlessness. We're looking for solutions to all these things that are happening in our community right now. But the solution is to go back and seek truth, every single one of us, every individual. Now, the church, they talk about, go pray. Go pray, go pray, go pray. Everybody's praying, nobody's listening. God speaks when you're silent. Everybody has an idea. Everybody has their thought on the best way to fix the problem. God speaks through silence. He said, my voice is a voiceless voice. And my children will know me by my voice, which is through revelation. So if we want to heal Baltimore, I believe Baltimore is on pace to do something this country has never seen before. I actually believe Baltimore is the key to saving America. What we have in Baltimore is fertile ground. We have our issues, yes, but out of the ashes rose the phoenix. Our best days are yet to come, and it starts with everyone starting to seek truth. That is my message. Thank you, guys. Come on, Becca.
Okay, unfortunately, in 2021, We've had 335 victims of murder in Baltimore. Miss Tiffany Wilson, Mr. Dirk Jackson, Mr. Deontay Davis, Mr. Marvin Deshore, Mr. Curtis Berry, Damon Fortson, Terrell Scott, Marquise Stanford, Dante Bosdale, Devonta Williams, Brianna Rogers, Ricky Martin, Tavon Anderson, Ricky Dixon, Melvin Johnson, Alyssa Taylor, Angelo Baldwin, Andrew Johnson, Daryl Oliver, Reginald Taylor, Kevin Wilson, Frank I. Duckett, Aaron Shipley, Kenneth Gertzley, Tamisha Robinson, Marlon Roster, Timothy Oren, Terrell Billy, Deontay Green, Diana B., Marcus Bentley, Javon Montgomery, Guy Thomas, Seymour Hall Jr., Evan Taylor, Justin Blanco, Melvin Harrison, Stephanie Chandler, Todd Fitzgerald, Sean Horton, Kendrick Hasty, Preston Hill, Tavon Hutton, Jaleel Johnson, Terry Williams, Courtney Rice, Jamal Pinchback, Lewis Wright, Mustafa Bates, Darrell Wilson, Hezekiah Pettiford, Talia Smith, Brendan Richardson, Kendra Normal, John Worrell, Matthew Bevins, Ashley Lambert, Keon Jones, Fabian Mendez, Robert Bates, Dominique Carr, James Fuller, Giorgio Johnson, Tavon Moon, Dondre Gilliam, Shamaya Austin, Sherry Smith, Ivan Green, Rodney Williams, Rudolph William, Nakia Jackson, Davon Mason, Quentin Price, Bruce Lemon, Kevin Adams, Mavis Pollard, Daquan Reed, Danny Henson, Donnell Avery, Matrell Harvey, Gary Wilson, Jackie Dunbar, Emmanuel Holly, Harrison Morton, Tayon Kennan, Dante Nicholas, Robert Lee Jones, John Hall, Harry Prather, Cecilia Johnson, Clinton Gray, Eric Wilson, Dana Ross, Julius Dunbar III, Taryn Jackson, Kiana Britton, Stephen Boyer, Ali Bay, Keith Carter, Curtis Dunham, DeAndre Davis, Coolsey Springs, Leslie Jerome Griffson, Lee Johnson, Stephen Reddick, Joseph Evans, Dwayne Edmonds, Ishmael Davenport, George Hawkins, Murray Randall, Montrell Harvey, Orlando Smith, Emmanuel Holly, Harrison Morton, Dante Nicholas, Robert Lee Jones, Tervin Jackson, Kiana Britton, Tavon Jenkins, Devonta Clark, LeVar Still, Stephen Reddick, Ali Hines, Clark Herman, Troy Rush, Anthony Kane Jr., Nicholas Lee, Veslis Nestle, Jaquan Thomas, Davon Thomas, Carlos Prunez, Adam Stewart, Dante Crawford, Travis Ben Watkins, Pamela Pitch, John Gillian, Tyreek Gordon, Maisha Coffey, Whitney Perrell, Nevaeh Anderson, which was number 300, Bradley Hampton, Evelyn Player, Malia Turner, Lee Wilkins Jr., Tiandre Shannon, Edward Williams, Dante Johnson, Keith Humphrey, Fannin Williams, Al Monty Patterson, Lorenzo King, William Adams, Rashad Dende, Ronald Barksdale, Kevin Finley, William Flowers, Desmond Carr, Jake Rogers, Tara Lambert, Taurus Morton, David Harcum, Shaquan Robinson, Respected Officer Kiana Holly, Bryant Levy, Jose Marvin, and another unidentified unidentified woman and man as of yesterday. These are all the victims that have succumbed to Baltimore City violence, and we remember them and we shall not forget.
Amen.
Shall we close with a prayer?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ricardo Lopez, and I just want to say I believe change begins with self. I cannot expect them to fix everything or the White House or the politicians. I believe and know that change begins with self. And also, hate does not conquer hate, love conquers hate. It's cause and effect. Like Andy said, an eye for an eye leaves the world blind, right? And I believe also that God sent his son and conquered darkness. And I believe that we shouldn't fear darkness. The light conquered darkness. And I know all those that have passed away. It's like our friend said, it affects the family, it affects the community, it affects everybody. We're all affected by it. I'm affected by it every time I hear about someone, innocent child or a senior in our porch. I mean, but the sad part about it is that we just seem to it's like every day, so we're just oblivious to it. We hear it, we don't do nothing about it. And I'm glad that we're all here because this is a beginning. This is a beginning, and I believe also that we can do this. Baltimore is the start. Is we can be an example not only to other places but the world as well. We're all hurting. There's too much violence all over the world, all over the world. So I just want to pray for Baltimore, for the United States, and for the world, for everyone suffering, victims, for the homeless, for all the outcasts, for the disabled, the veterans, and even the rich because they cry too. So I just want to thank everyone here, and hopefully the politicians and everyone will get their act together. If not, we could vote them out, and maybe you could run for mayor. And I just want to thank everybody. God bless us all. And well, I'll just end it with our Father. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from all evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever and ever. Amen.
Once again,